Welcome to Autism Approved, brought to you by Enzymedica. Now here's your host, Kristin Selby Gonzalez.
Hi, and welcome to Autism Approved. I'm your host, Kristin Selby Gonzalez. Right now, we are currently in Seattle, Washington, where the U.S. Autism and Asperger Association is launching their 6th annual World Conference. If you want more information about this conference or to see the presentations, visit them at www.usautism.org. Well, I'd like to introduce our first guest, who's a presenter here. His name is Alex Doman. He is the founder and the CEO of Advanced Brain Technologies. So welcome.
Thank you, Kristin.
I'm really excited to be able to talk with you because you know how much I love your program. And
it's great. Thanks so much for having me.
A lot of people don't know that Advanced Brain Technologies is actually the home of the listening program.
It is.
So do you want to maybe elaborate a little bit on how the difference and how you guys kind of brought it all together?
You bet. So Advanced Brain Technologies is the company I founded in 1998, and I had a vision to make sound brain fitness universally attainable to everybody on the planet. So what's sound brain fitness?
Yeah.
It is a goal and it's a process. So the goal is to help people reach their greatest potential by using sound to maximize their brain performance. And then we use specific music and technologies to help people achieve that goal. So the listening program is a music listening therapy that we've designed that people use in order to achieve sound brain fitness.
Wow. And so it's done with, and I know this, one, because I've taken your courses, but it's done with the headphones, and you either can do CDs or an iPod, correct?
That's right. So the program's available in different formats, and it's a structured music program. So music listening therapy isn't using music for entertainment. It's using very specialized music that's been produced to produce specific effects to help with emotional regulation, to help with listening and communication, social engagement, and generally improve all aspects of your life by supporting your nervous system. So the program involves following a very specific protocol that's individualized for each listener, listening through headphones 15 or 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week over the course of several months.
And so do they work with somebody who is, I guess, trained?
Yeah, parents work with a trained certified provider who's generally a licensed healthcare professional or an educator who we've certified as a listening program provider.
And you've been doing this since 1998.
That's right.
Wow. And so it's definitely evolved since then, I imagine.
Certainly has.
Because I remember when I would first read about you guys had CDs, and I know you still offer CDs for those who have those sets. But it's really kind of now gone into the iPod mode, right?
Well, it has, and what's important for us is that this is attainable for everybody. Not everyone has an iPod and that technology, but they have a CD player. So we have CD format available, or people can get preloaded iPods. And as we go to the future, we'll be able to bring this technology to people's own individual devices. So it's really, expanding the accessibility.
Like almost like just downloading it, eventually.
Well, not downloading, actually. No? More direct access than that.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, what inspired you in the very beginning to help people with autism?
Well, I've grown up in a family, I'm third generation in a family that is in the field of human child development. So my grandfather was a physiatrist, rehab physician that helped brain-injured children with their recovery. My father and his sister and their cousins were second generation, and in the early 70s, my father and grandfather started working with kids on the autism spectrum.
Wow.
Looking at them not at the time as kids that were considered to have a psychiatric disorder, but kids that had dietary issues, health issues, and had sensory processing issues. And they began to develop individualized programs that parents would do at home to help those kids improve in their life. So I grew up in it.
Wow, and so but was music kind of your love, and so you were trying to figure out how to...
Music was my love, but also I had auditory deficits growing up, and I had learned through some of the modalities that my father was using that music did have an impact, and specialized music had an impact, and it had an impact on me. So once I understood that, I became very interested in researching sound, technology, and music, and developing methods that would really help people.
Now, one of the things, when I'm thinking, I get this question asked a lot to me. What is the difference between, if you're looking at a program, your music listening programs, versus others? So I know the differences, but for the viewers out there, what are the differences if they're kind of confused on where to go and where to turn to, and how do they know this is a good fit for their their individual child?
That's a great question, Kristin. You know, there are clinic-based programs and there are home-based programs, and they're all couched under what we call listening programs or listening therapies. So they use music that's been modified in certain ways to help produce certain effects neurologically. The listening program is the only music listening therapy because we actually arrange and record the music from the ground up.
Okay.
And we produce it from start to finish in order to have certain results. So our approach is quite different from other methods. You know, the listening program is used in pediatric hospitals, on military bases with wounded warriors. It's used with stroke patients, and it's used with people on the autism spectrum across the world in healthcare facilities, hospitals, schools, but most importantly in the home. And we wanted to create something that was effective and was affordable and something a family could easily implement. You know, parents have so many choices in terms of what they're going to do. And we want to make something easy for them that's going to give them results. And that's what the listening program's really about.
Well, one of the questions that I got recently on Facebook actually was, because people see that I do the listening program with my son, and they'll say, oh, well, you're a provider, you do this, you do that. What's the difference? And then they say, well, then also, can I do this with other therapies? I get that question probably asked more than any other question. Now, I know the answer to that,
right,
but I'm sure the viewers might want to know.
Well, the answer is the listening program is a fantastic adjunct therapy. It serves as a foundation to help support whatever else you're doing. It's about helping the individual that's doing the listening be available and be accessible, to help them better self-regulate, to be able to process multisensory information, not go into sensory overload. So once we calm their nervous system with the music, they're ready and available and engaged for whatever else that you're doing. So it's like a primer that helps everything work more effectively.
I almost think of it as that foundation too, because with my son, I mean, he loves his music. I've told you that so many times. And for you guys out there that are watching, I remember when I first met you, and I've told this story a ton of times, but it's absolutely the truth. I was so nervous that he wouldn't wear the headphones. And I just thought, oh gosh, I'm going to go to this program. How am I going to get him to do that? And I remember asking you, well, can we put speakers in the rooms? Because I really was convinced he was not going to put those headphones on. And you said to me, oh, you know, when you put them on, you know, he will feel the difference. And it was like watching butter melt. I mean, he just completely almost relaxed his entire body. And from that moment on, that child has asked me for classical music. And when he is getting into that fight or flight mode, whether it be maybe we were out doing something and he had to process a lot of information, or maybe there's just something going on in his body, that's the first thing that he goes to is when we come home, Mommy, I want my classical music, or can you get my music for me?
So Jackson knows that's a tool to help him self-regulate.
Absolutely, and how amazing is that?
Yeah.
To me, I'm still blown away by that. It's what 9-year-old do you know that's sitting there? I'm sure you know many, but for the most of us, we don't know a lot of 9-year-olds that are asking, can I have my classical music? So it's a great way, I think, not only to help them self-regulate, but also to really introduce them to beautiful pieces in the classical world. You know, because music is great. I love music. I'm a big music fan. But, you know, at 9 years old, I don't think I was really introduced to some of the pieces that you guys record.
Well, it's about opportunity. You know, music touches all of us, and it's about being exposed to just the wealth of incredible music that's been with us for so long. And part of what makes the listening program different is we have focused on the aesthetic. We have focused on the musical experience, and how do we use that music to its greatest effect by just enhancing the natural attributes that Mozart, that Vivaldi, that Bach composed, and how do we add a therapeutic value to those without taking away from that art. And that's part of what really makes the listening program stand apart from existing recordings that are being modified in computer programs.
And when I just think, when I listen, because he has two different ones. You have the ones for music listening,